Dear students, I am Archana Dikshit of CC Shah will explain you about the transportation in human beings. Welcome you all for the science class. Today I am focusing on the figure of the heart because explanation is easy. Point wise I will explain you will understand everything. Actually, this comes under the heading of transportation in human beings. Transportation, you understand, taking things from one area to other area. In this heading, we will study about the blood. Blood is a fluid connective tissue. Blood is called connective tissue because it connects the various organs. So, we will study about first of all the blood. Blood contains blood plasma and blood corpuscles. Hence, you can divide the blood, that is fluid connective tissue, mainly in two parts. One is the plasma and other is the blood cells, or it is also called blood corpuscles. Now, in average human being, there is almost 5.5 liters of the blood in the body. Out of this blood, almost 60% of the blood is a fluid called plasma, as I told just now, and almost 40% it has blood corpuscles or blood cells. Blood cells remain suspended in the plasma. So both of them collectively known as the blood. Blood has one pigment that is called hemoglobin. You all are familiar with these terms. Now we will discuss about the first plasma. Plasma contains water up to 90 to 92%. Apart from that, it has some inorganic salts and some organic compounds. That makes up 1 to 2% inorganic salts and 7 to 8% plasma. Plasma actually transports food, carbon dioxide, nitrogenous waste in the dissolved form. Now the cellular part. Cellular part I told you, red blood corpuscles. Now they are three: red blood cells, white blood cells and blood platelets. Red blood cells are also known as RBCs. They are written as RBCs. RBCs, red blood cells. Similarly, white blood cells are written as WBCs. And blood platelets. The red blood cells do not have any nucleus in them. White blood cells contain the nucleus and blood platelets further do not have nucleus in them. If we see the red blood cell, you understand why they are called red, because they have the pigment in them. Which pigment? Hemoglobin pigment. So that is why they are called red blood cell. They are biconcave in nature. Biconcave means the cell is actually in the center, it is flat portion, and at the edges it is swollen. White blood cells are like amoeba. Sometimes they are round, sometimes they are like amoeba. That means they can change their own shape. Then blood platelets. Blood platelets are round and they are also without the nucleus, but blood platelets are very important for clotting of the blood. Suppose we get injured somewhere in the body part, then these capillaries get damaged. Then if clotting does not take place, then blood will continue to flow. So to prevent the flowing of the blood, this blood platelets, with the help of some chemicals, they form the network of all the cells, and thus the blood clotting takes place. So very important interesting factor I want to share is that red blood cells have almost the lifespan of 120 days only. This is the lifespan of RBCs, red blood cells. Then old and worn out red blood cells are destroyed in spleen and liver. Now about the pigment. Pigment, you know, in hemoglobin is the pigment in the human blood, and in this also heme, H-A-E-M, heme. Heme is iron. Heme means iron, and globin means, you understand, that is the protein part. So actually heme, H-E-M-E, heme, hemoglobin. So this heme is the means iron. Now functions of the blood also you should have the idea that what blood transports. Blood transports the gases, oxygen, carbon dioxide. It also transports the nutrients which we obtain from the food to all organs of the body, all parts of the body. Then certain secretions, that means hormones, enzymes, they are transported. Blood also regulates the body temperature, and it fights against the microorganisms, because WBCs, white blood corpuscles, have the function that only, that they fight against the microorganisms. Blood also maintains the pH. And it balances water in the body and thus prevents the blood loss. So these are the functions of the blood. I am repeating it again. Transport of nutrients, transport of respiratory gases, then protection against the microorganisms, transport of the waste products, because whatever waste is there in the blood, that goes to the kidney, controls the body temperature. Then it also helps in transportation of the secretions like hormones, enzymes. Then it balances the pH value also. So this was the general functions of the blood. Then now we are going to discuss about the main organ, heart, that we will do in detail. Now see the heart. Heart is the main organ in the circulatory system. It is located in somewhat center of the chest cavity, but tilting towards the left side, means its conical part is tilting towards the left side in the human body. Now if closely you observe the heart, you will find it is a triangular shape, somewhat triangular shape. It is a highly muscular organ, because you know it is always pumping, because it takes the blood pump to the lungs, it takes the blood then pump to the for the various organs of the body. So it is also called pump of the body. And thus you understand that blood, for blood, heart is very important. Let us discuss the heart now. Number 1, heart is a muscular organ of the body. Second, its size is of fist. This is my fist. So fist side. Its size is of fist, like our fist. Then it is tilted towards the left side in the body. Then human heart is 4-chambered heart. In broader part, the 4 chambers are there. In the broader part, the 2 chambers are called atrium, as you can see, atrium. And downwards towards the conical part, it is ventricle. Now left side part is called left atrium, left ventricle. Right side, it is called right atrium, right ventricle. Thus we can say in this 2 kinds of blood flows, oxygenated blood and deoxygenated blood. Oxygenated blood is called oxygen rich blood. Deoxygenated blood is called carbon dioxide rich blood. That means oxygen is not there, carbon dioxide is there. That is called deoxygenated blood, without the oxygen. Now remember that there is a wall between left and right side. That is called septum, which is dividing. Septum is dividing left side and right side. Similarly, one wall is also there which is separating the right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. So we can say the 4 chambers are formed this way. Left, left, right, right. Right or atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle. Now let us see what happens. So this was the structure. Between the left atrium and left ventricle, there are valves. Valves are between left atrium, left ventricle, right atrium and right ventricle. These valves are called bicuspid valve and tricuspid valve. Okay, so this much you understand now. Let us do how the blood comes to the heart. There are 2 kinds of big veins which collect the blood, deoxygenated blood, from upper part of the body as well as from lower part of the body. The main big vein which collects the blood from upper part of the body, that means from head, from face, from shoulders, that is called superior vena cava. This is superior vena cava. Vena cava, VENACAVA. Similarly, from the lower parts of the body, lower part means below abdomen, lower parts of the body, the deoxygenated blood is collected by inferior vena cava. This is called inferior vena cava. It is collecting blood from lower part of the body. Now the upper part of the body and lower part of the body, they collect the deoxygenated blood in the right atrium. Simultaneously, in the left side, in the left atrium, The blood is collected from pulmonary veins. You can see pulmonary veins. Only pulmonary veins are there in the human body which can collect the oxygenated or pure blood from the lungs. Except pulmonary veins, all veins have deoxygenated blood. Okay. Now the blood, as the blood comes in the right side, the pure blood comes in the left side, or better to say, oxygenated blood comes in the left atrium, deoxygenated blood comes in the right atrium. So I think this much is clear to you, that both the atriums are having the blood that is and pure and impure, or you can say deoxygenated and oxygenated. Okay. Now next we will do that what happens afterwards. I told you about the valve. Bicuspid valve is the name on the left side. Here it is bicuspid valve. Bicuspid valve on the left side that guards between the left atrium and left ventricle, and tricuspid valve on the right side between the right atrium and right ventricle. The question is that why we need this valve. Valves play a very important role because they prevent the backflow of the blood. Once the blood has come to ventricle, then again it should not go back. So that is why tricuspid valve on the right side, because it is 3-layered, and bicuspid valve on the left side because it is 2-layered. Okay. Now you understand the blood has come to the ventricle. Now from ventricle what will happen? From ventricle, from right ventricle, the blood will go to the lungs through pulmonary artery, and from left ventricle, blood will go to the main aorta, through which the blood will supply to all parts of the body. So I think this is very much clear to you. Okay, understood? Let us do it again. Heart is what kind of organ? Highly muscular organ. And the muscles which work for the heart are called coronary muscles. Coronary muscles never get fatigued, never get tired. Coronary muscles. These muscles never get tired, never get fatigued. The day they get fatigued, the life is stopped there only. Okay. So then this was there. Then it is triangular in shape, rough triangular in shape. And then it is tilted towards the left side in the chest cavity or thoracic cavity. Then it is a 4-chambered. The upper 2 chambers, which in the broader part are called atriums or auricles. The lower 2 chambers are called ventricles. Now there is a wall which is separating left and right side, that is called septum. That is the dividing wall, differentiating. Now left on atrium opens into left ventricle by 2-layered valve, that is called bicuspid valve, to prevent the backflow of the blood. Similarly on the right side, right atrium opens to right ventricle through tricuspid valve. Remember that right atrium receives the blood from vena cava, superior vena cava, inferior vena cava. Similarly, left atrium will get the blood through pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins are connected to the lungs. Pulmonary veins are the only veins which carry the oxygenated blood. Then from right ventricle, the deoxygenated blood goes to the lungs through pulmonary artery. This is the only artery which carries the deoxygenated blood. And left ventricle will open into aorta, and then it will be supplied, the blood will be supplied to all parts of the body. It's clear to you. Now we will see that when the pure blood goes to the aorta, then what happens? This aorta divides and forms the arteries all over the body. Arteries further divides and form arterioles. Arterioles further divides and forms capillaries. This way, pure blood or oxygenated blood goes to the arteries, and from arteries it goes to the arterioles and then to capillaries. This way, each and every cell of the body gets the pure oxygen rich blood. Now, this through capillaries it is supplied to all parts of the body. Then again, capillaries will unite to form venules, and deoxygenated blood goes to the venules through capillaries, and then venules will form veins. These veins will carry the deoxygenated blood, and they will open into superior vena cava and inferior vena cava, from where the blood will go to the right atrium. This is actually circulation of the blood, this way takes place. Now, there are differences between veins and arteries. Arteries are connected to aorta and thus to the heart. So, therefore, blood flows with jerks in arteries. But in veins, it flows smoothly. Arteries do not have the valve. There is no such possibility of backflow of the blood, because blood is flowing through jerks in one direction only. In veins, since the blood flows smoothly, so therefore valves are present for backflow of the blood. The arteries are deeper inside in the body and they are thick walled, so that they can bear the jerks, while veins are thin walled and they are comparatively less deeper in the body. So these are the main differences. Rest of the differences you can write easily, that arteries carry oxygenated blood except the pulmonary artery, and veins carry deoxygenated blood except the pulmonary vein. Okay, so this was about the functions of the blood. I have already told you. So this was about the heart. Blood vessels also I explain you. If you directly learn from your textbook, then also it is easy, because in textbook whatever content is given, that is very nice, but you have to write point wise. Whenever you write, suppose if you write a structure of the heart, that also you write point wise. If you are writing blood circulation, for blood circulation this can be remember, because pulmonary vein, pulmonary artery is this shown, pulmonary vein, aorta, whatever I was speaking you will get in this, as you can see. Now blood pressure, I should tell you, hypertension is called raised blood pressure. When the blood exerts against the wall of the vessel, the force is exerted against that is called blood pressure. So blood pressure, with this term all of you are familiar. In arteries the pressure remains more, because blood directly gives the blood is given directly into the arteries. Now when the heart is in relaxed form, then it is called diastolic form stage. When the heart is in pressure contraction form, then it is called systolic stage. And normally it is between 80 millimeter of mercury to 120 millimeter. That means diastolic pressure is 80 millimeter, where the heart is at rest, means relaxed form. And when it is working, that is systolic, then it is 120 millimeter. Higher than 120 millimeter means then it is called the hypertension. Apart from this blood, there is one more system related to the transportation, that is about the lymph. Let me tell you what is a lymph. Lymph is also a kind of fluid only, but when the blood flows in the capillaries between the tissues, sometimes the fluid comes out from the walls of the capillaries and it contains less amount of proteins, and it has some part of the plasma. Some blood cells also escape into it, though it is somewhat colorless or very pale yellow in color. And this actually helps in taking the waste products of the cells in between the cells, as well as it takes the extra fluid also, and it helps in the absorption of the fat also, and thus then the this fluid is given into the blood. So this is the function of the lymph. I think all of you understood this. I hope so. Okay. Thank you all. I want to give some questions that well labeled diagram of the heart you have to draw, as well as you have to draw this. Diagram is also very easy to draw. First of all, you will draw the triangular part. Then once or twice you have to see in your textbook, and then you can draw the diagram. So diagram is important, as well as working and structure of the heart is important. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, students.